Animal Farm by George Orwell is an allegorical novella that uses animals on a farm to depict the events leading up to the Russian Revolution of 1917 and the early years of the Soviet Union. Here's a brief summary. The story begins with the animals on Manor Farm, owned by the oppressive farmer Mr. Jones. Old Major, an elderly boar, inspires the animals with a dream of rebellion against human tyranny, envisioning a society where all animals are equal. After his death, two pigs, Napoleon and Snowball, lead a successful revolt, and the farm is renamed Animal Farm. Initially, the farm prospers under the animals' control. They establish a set of principles called animalism, represented by the 7 commandments, the most important being, all animals are equal. However, power struggles between Napoleon and Snowball emerge. Napoleon eventually uses force, employing his guard dogs, to exile Snowball and take control of the farm. Under Napoleon's rule, the pigs start to resemble the humans they overthrew, enjoying privileges while the other animals suffer. The commandments are subtly altered to suit the pigs' desires, culminating in the final chilling revision: all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The novella is a powerful critique of the corruption of ideals, the dangers of totalitarianism, and the betrayal of revolutions. Here's a detailed chapter-wise summary of Animal Farm by George Orwell. Chapter 1. The novella begins on Manor Farm, where Mr. Jones, the farmer, is a negligent and often drunk man. The animals of the farm are overworked and underfed. One night, Old Major, a highly respected boar, calls a secret meeting to share his dream of an animal revolution. He speaks about how humans exploit animals, advocating for a society where animals control their own labor and enjoy the fruits of it. Old Major teaches the animals a song called Beasts of England, which becomes the anthem of their rebellion. The animals, inspired and hopeful, begin thinking about revolution. Chapter 2. Old Major dies shortly after delivering his speech, but his revolutionary ideas live on. The pigs, being the most intelligent of the animals, take charge of organizing the rebellion. The main pigs are Napoleon, Snowball, and Squealer. They develop animalism, a philosophy based on Old Major's ideas. Despite some resistance from animals like Molly, a vain horse, and skepticism from Moses, a raven, most animals support the rebellion. One day, the animals, driven by hunger, rise up against Mr. Jones and his men. They succeed in taking over the farm, driving the humans away, and renaming it Animal Farm. The pigs write 7 commandments on the barn wall, the most important being, all animals are equal. Chapter 3. After the rebellion, the animals work hard to harvest the crops. Boxer, a strong and hard-working horse, adopts the personal motto, "I will work harder." The pigs, particularly Snowball and Napoleon, assume leadership roles. Snowball organizes committees to improve life on the farm, and the animals learn to read, though only the pigs and some others can manage it. The pigs, being clever, take the role of planners and supervisors, while the other animals do most of the physical labor. The pigs claim the milk and apples for themselves, justifying it by saying that they need the nutrients to lead effectively. Squealer, a persuasive pig, convinces the other animals that the pig's leadership is essential to their survival and success. Chapter 4. News of the rebellion spreads to other farms, worrying neighboring farmers Mr. Pilkington and Mr. Frederick, who fear that their own animals might revolt. These humans spread lies about Animal Farm, but Snowball sends out pigeons to spread the message of rebellion to animals on other farms. Mr. Jones, along with some other men, attempts to retake Animal Farm, leading to the Battle of the Cowshed. Snowball emerges as a hero, bravely organizing the animals' defense. Boxer also fights valiantly, accidentally knocking a stable boy unconscious, which disturbs him. The humans are defeated, and the animals celebrate their victory. Snowball and Boxer are awarded medals for their bravery. Chapter 5. The power struggle between Snowball and Napoleon intensifies. Snowball envisions modernizing the farm, proposing the construction of a windmill to generate electricity and improve the animals' lives. Napoleon, however, opposes this plan, believing that it will distract from the more immediate needs of food production. During a crucial meeting to vote on the windmill project, Napoleon has trained guard dogs, which he had secretly raised, chase Snowball off the farm. Snowball is now seen as a traitor. Napoleon consolidates his power, abolishing the animals' weekly meetings and becoming the sole leader. Squealer uses propaganda to justify Napoleon's actions, claiming Snowball was a criminal. Chapter 6. The animals are forced to work harder than ever, often laboring 7 days a week. The windmill, now endorsed by Napoleon, becomes the focus of their efforts. Boxer, true to his motto, works tirelessly, while the pigs start to engage in trade with neighboring humans. Despite the pigs' earlier denunciation of human contact, they begin making deals for supplies, using Mr. Whymper, a human solicitor, as an intermediary. The animals are uneasy about this change but accept it. The pigs also begin to live in the farmhouse, justifying it as necessary for their leadership. One night, a storm destroys the half-finished windmill, but Napoleon blames the disaster on Snowball, who is accused of sabotaging the farm. Chapter 7. Food shortages worsen, and the animals begin to starve. Napoleon and Squealer use propaganda to conceal the dire situation from the outside world. The hens revolt when Napoleon demands that they give up their eggs to trade for food, but their rebellion is quickly crushed, and several hens are starved to death as punishment. Napoleon continues to blame Snowball for any problems, using him as a scapegoat. He even rewrites history, claiming Snowball was always in league with Mr. Jones, even though Snowball was once considered a hero. A series of show trials ensue, where animals are forced to confess to treasonous acts they didn't commit and are executed. The purges terrorize the animals, but they are powerless to resist. Chapter 8. As Napoleon becomes more tyrannical, the pigs continue to rewrite the commandments to suit their actions. The original commandment, "No animal shall kill any other animal," is altered to, "No animal shall kill any other animal without cause." The windmill is rebuilt, but tensions arise with the neighboring human farmers. Napoleon negotiates with Mr. Frederick and M.R. Pilkington for timber, eventually selling it to Frederick, only to find out he was paid in counterfeit money. Frederick and his men then attack the farm, leading to the Battle of the Windmill, during which the windmill is destroyed again. Although the animals manage to drive off the humans, they suffer heavy casualties. After the battle, Napoleon proclaims a victory, though the animals are left devastated. The pigs celebrate with alcohol, further altering the commandment, "No animal shall drink alcohol," to "No animal shall drink alcohol to excess." Chapter 9. Life on the farm becomes increasingly harsh. Boxer, the hard-working horse, sustains an injury while rebuilding the windmill. Despite this, he continues to work as hard as he can. The pigs, meanwhile, continue to indulge themselves, setting up a school for piglets and further distancing themselves from the other animals. As Boxer's condition worsens, Napoleon promises to send him to a veterinary hospital, but he actually sells Boxer to a glue factory in exchange for money to buy whiskey. Squealer convinces the other animals that Boxer died peacefully in a hospital, praising his hard work and loyalty. Chapter 10. Years pass, and many of the animals who were part of the rebellion have died. The farm is more prosperous now, but life for the animals is no better than it was under Mr. Jones. The pigs walk on two legs, wear clothes, and carry whips, becoming indistinguishable from humans. The final commandment is replaced with "All animals are equal," but some animals are more equal than others. The pigs invite human farmers, including Mr. Pilkington, to visit the farm. During a card game between the pigs and humans, the other animals, watching through a window, realize that they can no longer tell the difference between the pigs and the humans. Animal Farm by George Orwell explores several important themes that reflect both the events of the Russian Revolution and broader critiques of power, corruption, and societal structure. One of the central themes is how power corrupts those who possess it. Initially, the animals' revolution seeks to create a society where all animals are equal and free from human oppression. However, as the pigs gain control, particularly Napoleon, they gradually become corrupt, indulging in the same luxuries and privileges as the humans they overthrew. Orwell illustrates the inevitable corruption that comes with absolute power, embodied in the famous maxim, "Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely." The pigs' gradual accumulation of power leads them to manipulate the animals, alter the original ideals of animalism, and oppress their fellow animals, proving that power can transform even the noblest intentions into tyranny. Animal Farm explores the theme of social class and inequality through the division between the pigs and the other animals. While the original goal was equality for all animals, a class structure quickly emerges. The pigs, being the intellectuals, take leadership roles, while the other animals perform the labor. Over time, the pigs begin to exploit this division for their own benefit, creating a society where all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. The hierarchy between the pigs and the working animals, like Boxer, the hard-working horse, reflects the wider commentary on how revolutions often result in new class distinctions, with the leaders living in luxury while the workers continue to toil in hardship. At the start of the novella, Old Major's vision of a society where all animals share equally in the fruits of their labor represents the utopian ideals of socialism and communism. However, as the pigs consolidate power, these ideals are slowly betrayed. The 7 commandments, which initially reflect equality and fairness, are altered over time to accommodate the pigs' growing privileges. Orwell uses this theme to critique the way political movements and revolutions can deviate from their original purpose when those in power become self-serving. This is especially evident in Napoleon's regime, which mirrors the betrayal of the ideals of the Russian Revolution by Stalin's dictatorship. At the start of the novella, Old Major's vision of a society where all animals share equally in the fruits of their labor represents the utopian ideals of socialism and communism. However, as the pigs consolidate power, these ideals are slowly betrayed. The 7 commandments, which initially reflect equality and fairness, are altered over time to accommodate the pigs' growing privileges. Orwell uses this theme to critique the way political movements and revolutions can deviate from their original purpose when those in power become self-serving. This is especially evident in Napoleon's regime, which mirrors the betrayal of the ideals of the Russian Revolution by Stalin's dictatorship. Another significant theme is the role of propaganda in maintaining control over the masses. Orwell highlights how those in power manipulate language and truth to maintain their dominance. Squealer, Napoleon's spokesperson, represents the propaganda machine, constantly rewriting history and spreading lies to justify the pigs' actions. Through Squealer, the pigs manipulate the animals' memories and beliefs, convincing them that their living conditions are better than they remember or that Snowball was a traitor all along. This theme reflects Orwell's concern with how totalitarian regimes use propaganda to control and manipulate the populace, distorting truth and reality. Orwell portrays the working class, particularly through characters like Boxer and Clover, as hardworking and loyal but also naive and easily manipulated. Boxer, whose personal motto is, "I will work harder," and later, "Napoleon is always right," represents the blindly loyal proletariat. He works tirelessly for the cause of animalism, yet fails to recognize the pig's exploitation of his labor until it's too late. The theme reflects the dangers of a working class that fails to question authority and allows itself to be exploited by those in power. Orwell emphasizes the power of language as a tool of control. The pigs, particularly Squealer, use rhetoric, manipulation, and ambiguous language to maintain their authority and manipulate the truth. The commandments on the barn wall are changed subtly over time to suit the pigs' needs. The animals, not being fully literate, fail to notice these changes and accept the pigs' explanations without question. Orwell shows that those in power can manipulate language to deceive and dominate, which serves as a warning about the importance of education and critical thinking in resisting oppression. Animal Farm also addresses the cyclical nature of tyranny. The novella suggests that revolutions can often result in the same oppressive structures that they were intended to overthrow. The animals' rebellion against Mr. Jones mirrors the Russian Revolution, but by the end of the novella, the pigs have become indistinguishable from the humans they replaced. The pigs' adoption of human habits, living in the farmhouse, drinking alcohol, walking on two legs, demonstrates how revolutionary leaders can become the new oppressors, creating a new cycle of tyranny. Orwell warns that unless vigilance and accountability are maintained, history may repeat itself, with new oppressors replacing the old. These themes make Animal Farm a powerful commentary on political revolutions, totalitarianism, and the human tendency to exploit power. The novella's timeless relevance continues to resonate in discussions of politics, power, and societal inequality. Here are 10 fun facts about Animal Farm. Despite its brilliance, Animal Farm was initially rejected by several publishers, including T.S. Eliot at Faber and Faber, because of its critical portrayal of the Soviet Union. During World War, the UK was allied with the USSR, and publishers feared that releasing the book would damage wartime relations. George Orwell was heavily influenced by his experiences during the Spanish Civil War, where he saw firsthand the rise of totalitarianism. His time fighting alongside socialists who later turned against one another inspired his deep cynicism about how revolutions can be corrupted. The entire novella is an allegory for the Russian Revolution and the subsequent rise of Stalinism. Key characters in the novella represent important historical figures. Not surprisingly, Animal Farm was banned in the Soviet Union and its satellite states as it was a direct critique of Stalin's regime. It remained censored there until after the fall of the Soviet Union in the early 1990s. Orwell initially titled the novella Animal Farm, a fairy story. The subtitle was meant to emphasize its allegorical nature, but it was dropped from many editions after the first publication to make the title more serious. The pig Napoleon was originally going to be called Caesar after Julius Caesar, but Orwell changed it to Napoleon, referencing the French military leader Napoleon Bonaparte, who also rose to power through a revolution and became dictatorial. Despite its critical acclaim, Animal Farm has often been a source of controversy in US schools. It has appeared on several lists of banned books due to its political themes and depiction of government corruption. Animal Farm became the first British animated feature film in 1954. Interestingly, the film was secretly funded by the CIA, which viewed it as a propaganda tool during the Cold War to spread anti-communist messages. Despite writing other famous works like 1984, George Orwell said that Animal Farm was the first book where he truly felt like he had found his voice as a writer. It was his personal favorite among all his works. The song, Beasts of England, which is used as the anthem of the Animal Rebellion, was inspired by both the Internationale, the Socialist Anthem, and Clementine, a well-known folk song. This reflects Orwell's use of music to underscore revolutionary fervor. These facts highlight how Orwell's Animal Farm has had an impact both as a literary work and a political statement, making it a fascinating novella with a rich history.